so let's look at another one. And again, we just have two statements here. So we're going to make our start. So we have P and Q. And again, this is called a truth table. So we have what? True, 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 false, false, true, and what? False, false. Okay. So in order to answer this, notice I need to know what not P is, the negation of P and not Q. So negation of P, negation of Q. And remember, statements are either true or false. So let's start with P. If P is true, the negation would have to be false. True would go to false. False goes to true. False goes to what? True. Okay, and then for Q, same thing. If it used to be true, the negation would be false. False goes to true. True goes to false. False goes to true. Okay. Now I have the building blocks to answer these questions. So let's do, again, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You have to do both parentheses first, then the combinations. So we're going to do this guy next. Okay, so that would be what? I'm going to use some pens to help me. So this is not P with what? Not P with Q. Okay, I'm going to cover those up so I can just focus on the not P with Q. Okay, looks like my dog's going to join me here. So not P with Q, and this is an or. It does not look like an A. It's an or, and so it's kind of easier to tell the truth because only part of it has to be true. There you can see my golden doodle. All right, so T and F, okay, it's an or, so I told the truth, right, over here. Here I lied both times, so that's false. Here I told the truth both times, so that's true, and here I told the truth over here, so it's true. Because remember, in an or, I'm saying I'm going to do one or the other, so I'm still telling the truth if I do one of them. If I do both, I'm just kind of being extra truthful. All right, now let's do this one over here. So what is that? P, Q. Okay, this looks like an A, so it's an and. And remember, ands are harder to tell the truth because, you know, if you add a lot of ands, everything has to be true. And so this time we have what? P and not Q. So I'm going to do, kind of cover those up with my pens. Do these bring me back to elementary school. I have no idea where I got this, but I remember as a kid we'd always smell the markers, which was probably horrid for us. But black licorice. Do you guys remember that from elementary school? They probably don't do that anymore. All right, so hard and. Okay, so I have P in this. Now again, remember on an and, everything has to be the truth, right? So I'm going to cover that guy up too. So for me to tell the truth, I'm saying everything is. So true and, but I lied about that. So I lied because it's not all true. True, true, it's an and. So yep, I told the truth about everything. False, false. Nope. And false, true. No. So false. Again, hard to get the truth when it's an and. Okay. So now I've done this and I've done this. So now this is last. So I'm going to combine all of it. So I'm going to take that column and then combine it with that one, which I've done all the heavy lifting. So this is an and, which again is hard to tell the truth. And I'm just combining these last two. So partial, but not good enough for an and. Partial, not good enough for an and. Partial, not good enough for an and. Partial, not good enough. So false. Now, the cool thing about truth tables is I don't even have to know what the statements are. All right. So for example, on this, it's saying not P or Q. And then, what is that? P and not Q. And then I want the and in between those. All right. So say P is I have a PhD. And Q is I have a dog. Okay. So those are both true statements. I do have a PhD and you just saw part of my dog a second ago. So true, true. But then do you get the answer to this ugly looking thing? All you have to do is go to the true, true, go all the way across, and you know the answer to this thing is false. Which again, this would say what? I do not have a PhD or I have a dog, you know, and then you can figure it out. Same thing up here. If P is I have a PhD and Q a dog, I told the truth on both of those things. So then the final answer to this thing is false, okay? For example, say P is, let's see, I have a PhD, which I started when I was 40, finished when 45. So if you're going to school when you're old, kudos to you. Okay. So I have a PhD and say I have a horse, which I told you earlier. I do not. I have a horse. I can barely feed my family. So feeding a horse would be expensive. Okay. So everyone, okay, I have a PhD is true. I do not have a horse. Okay, so if you look over here, I told the truth about P, but I lied about this one. So I'm right here. So I told the truth about PhD, lied about having a horse. So do you get the answer to this thing is actually true? Because I can do my truth table. And this is say I have what? I have a PhD or I have a horse. And I do not have a horse. So I do not have a horse is true. And this is also true. So that's why true and true makes more true. Okay. So it's kind of cool that you can answer complicated things without even, you know, caring what they stand for. All right. Excuse me. Okay. You could do these with P, Q, and R. Just know your chart's going to be a little bit bigger. So if you have 3 statements, P, Q, and R, you have 2 choices, 2 choices, 2 choices. That gives you 8 possibilities. So you could have like true, 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 false. Oh, what else? True, false, true, and false. True, true. Is that all the options with the 2 trues? Do I have another one? Did I get them all? There should be. And then I could do false, 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 true, false. What else? False, false, true. How am I doing? Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing one. Is it true, false, false? Probably true, false, false. So hopefully I don't have any duplicates there. But anyway, you come up with all 8 possibilities and then you would make your cheat sheet. This chart is in your book. So if you kind of, and again, that's kind of the start of how it goes. And then it would be like maybe not P or Q and not R, something like that. So you just add to this. Okay, this would be the start of it though. All right, let's do conditional statements. Okay, so in conditional is, you know, if then. Okay, so it's an if blank then blank. And it's conditional because you're putting in a condition on. So if P, then Q is going to happen. Okay, or might not happen or whatever. Okay, so like, you know, if it is sunny, then we will go to the zoo. All right, so my condition is it has to be sunny. So if it is sunny, then the result is we're going to end up going to the zoo, which today is sunny, so I guess we would end up going to the zoo. All right, these get a little tricky on the truth tables for these. I will try to put it in a context that you understand, and we'll go from there. So I'm still going to do my P and my Q. And I'm still going to do my, you know, true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false. Okay. And I'm going to do this in a context of kind of I either keep my promise. So did I keep my promise or did I break my promise? And let's see. I'm going to make the statement that if you pass the final, and this is not for this class, if you pass the final, comma, then you will pass the class. So those are my statements. So my P is passing the final, okay? So that's P. P is you pass the final. Q is the result is you would pass the class, okay? So the question is, am I keeping my promise or not? And this is P implies Q. So P implies Q, saying if, then. If you have a double arrow, it means if and only if. That means it has to go both directions, okay? Like it can, you know, it has to be both going forward and backwards. So you can read the book about that. But, all right, so let's look at about this. Okay. If you pass the class, so this is a promise, and you have to see, am I keeping my promise or did I break my promise? Okay, so you passed the final. Good for you, okay? So did you pass the class? Yes, you did. So did I keep my promise? Yeah, I did, right? Because I said if you pass the final, you'd pass the class. So I kept my promise, so we're good. So I kept my promise. There we go. That's good. All right, next one. If you pass the final, okay, did you pass the final? Yes, you did. Did you pass class? No, you did not. Okay, did I keep my promise? No, I broke my promise, right? So that's false, okay? I lied, or it's a broken promise. false and true. Okay. Did you pass the final? No, you did not. So you did not do your part, right? Did you just pass the class for other reasons? Yeah, you did, right? Okay. So, but I didn't break my promise. Okay. So that's one's true. I did not break my promise. Break my promise. And the reason isn't because you passed class. It's because my promise is contingent upon you passing the final. You did not pass the final, so my promise is meaningless at this point. It doesn't matter, right? Because you didn't keep up your end of the bargain, so this doesn't even matter because it's a moot point. You didn't do this. This doesn't matter anymore, okay? So it's not because you passed a final or got a passing grade in the class. Maybe other tests were worth more, but it doesn't matter. You failed. You did not pass the final, so this part doesn't even matter anymore, okay? Let's look at the last one. You failed the final, you did not pass the final, and you failed the class. Now, did I keep my promise? Okay, well, my promise is only if you pass the final. My promise has nothing to do if you failed the final. So as soon as you failed the final, this is a moot point. So did I keep my promise? And the answer is actually true, okay? So I kept my promise. And the reason is because if you would have passed, I would have passed you in the class. You didn't pass the final, so again, you know, it's not like I broke my word. I kept my word because you didn't pass it. Whatever happens next is not even part of that deal, if that makes sense. Okay. It doesn't even matter. Okay. So for example, let's think of like, we can use the same scenario. We can just change our if then. That's the cool thing about these. It doesn't matter what the if and then, this is always true. So say, if you vote for me or if I get elected, taxes will go down. Okay, so maybe that's my campaign promise, right? Okay, so getting elected, okay, so that means, you know, if I get elected, so that's the P. The Q is taxes go down, right? Okay, so here's my P. If I get elected, my Q is taxes will definitely go down. Okay, so did you elect me? Yes, you did. Did taxes go down? Yep. Did I keep my campaign promise? I absolutely did. All right. Did I get elected? Yes, I did. Did taxes go down? Nope. So I lied. Okay. I broke my promise. Okay. Maybe I didn't do it on purpose, but you know what I mean? I did. So false. All right. Let's look at the next one. Did I get elected? Okay. Nope. I did not get elected. Okay. Did taxes go down? Yep. Okay. So again, there's not, you know, really it doesn't matter that I got elected or not, but taxes went down, you know. So again, there's no broken promise because number one, you never elected me in the first place. So how can I break my promise? I only promised if you elected me. You never elected me. So the outcome over here doesn't really matter. It's not gonna, I didn't break my promise because you never elected me in the first place. Same thing down here. Did you elect me? No. So it doesn't matter if taxes go up or down. I still kept my promise because you never elected me for, you know, me to try to do, okay? Or for me to try to do anything about taxes. So the only time I really lied or broke my promise is when I said I was going to do something and I didn't, okay? The other times here I said I'd do it, I did it. Here I said I'd do it, but you never elected me or, you know, I didn't do my part or you didn't do your part, so this part doesn't even matter. Okay. Again, it gets a little tricky, but I think you can figure it out. And there's some other ones with negations and stuff. And again, you can read the book for those. So like for the example, Billy Joel, who's an awesome, talented individual. So he said, you know, only the good die young, right? Famous lyrics from one of his songs, and I will not sing it to you. All right. So, you know, so what is the if then that's implied? Okay. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if you are good, then based on his song, right, then you will die young. So sometimes you know, you have to kind of think about what your if is and then what your then is. Okay. And I'm trying to think if that's probably about it. I think that's about it. All right. So there's my, here, let me see if you can see my little sleeping dog. There she is. All right, so I'm in my card table makeshift office that I made during COVID. So I have a doc cam at home, so this works out really well. All right, if you have any questions, that's the big highlight.